Look at you, you're brilliant, you're gifted, you got the vision board, you got the goals, you got the full subscription to the idea of success. But I need you to answer this one question, and you better be honest about it. If you are so ready, so capable, so driven, then why are you stuck? Don't give me the excuses about time. Don't give me the excuses about resources. We both know the deepest, most agonizing conflict isn't out there in the market. It's right here. In the quiet war, you're fighting with yourself every single day. You wake up with purpose and you go to bed having committed an act of self-sabotage. You talk about the evidence you want to create, the massive results, the financial freedom, the fulfilled life, but then you refuse to sign the daily contract to do the work. You refuse to generate the evidence. You want the self-worth of a champion, but you are performing with the low standards of someone who just wants to get by. You are trading a lifetime of earned dignity for the fleeting comfort of a 10-minute distraction. You are desperate for an external applause break, checking your phone for permission when you should be checking your gut for conviction. You are waiting for the future you, that disciplined, successful person, to show up and rescue you, never realizing that future you is just waiting on you to start acting like they would. You are constantly making promises to yourself that you have no intention of keeping. You are damaging the one relationship that matters most, the relationship of trust between your mind and your actions. And every time you skip that small habit, every time you choose the easy way out, you are not just delaying a result. You are actively confirming to yourself that you are not worthy of the life you say you want. You are losing the fight because you keep choosing escape over execution. I'm not here to motivate you with fluff. I'm here to expose the 4 traps that are holding you hostage and give you the micro actions to break the chains. Because until you fix the core identity problem, you will always be a victim of your own excuses. There is a simple non-negotiable formula to build self-worth, and I'm going to give it to you right now. But you have to pay attention. Stop begging for approval. You're an adult. You walk around here holding the remote control for your self-worth, and you just keep handing to strangers, don't you? Listen to me. I'm talking to somebody right now who knows exactly what I'm talking about. You know, it's true, because when that notification doesn't pop up, when that text doesn't hit back, when that person doesn't validate your effort, your entire engine stalls. You feel it, don't you? That gut punch, that emotional void that screams, I am not enough, because they didn't say I was enough. I want to ask you a question that's going to make you mad, but I need you to answer it truthfully. How long are you going to keep treating your destiny like it's a high school popularity contest? You think you know why you're stuck. You think it's lack of resources, lack of time, lack of opportunity, but you don't know. Not yet. The truth is, you fundamentally misunderstood what self-worth is. And until you fix this foundation, every building you try to construct is going to crumble. Let me tell you about a meeting I had with a young entrepreneur. He was brilliant, one of the most creative minds I'd ever met, and he had a product that could change lives. But he couldn't push the launch button. He showed me his phone. He had designed the entire promotional campaign. He had the product ready to ship, but he was stuck. He was on social media. He was posting vague, almost coded messages, asking for feedback, looking for encouragement, waiting for someone to give him the ceremonial go ahead. He's sitting there, this grown man, heart pounding, his thumb hovering over the refresh button. He keeps checking his comments, checking his likes. He scrolls through the noise, looking for validation from people who don't even know his first name, people who haven't sacrificed what he has sacrificed, and you could see it in his eyes. The moment the like count was low, the moment a stranger posted a lukewarm comment, you could watch his stomach drop. You could watch the air go out of his confidence balloon. That's the moment I had to stop him. That's the moment I had to break it down. This is not a performance for an audience. This is a mission that you have abandoned. The problem is you base your value on likes, on comments, on nods from people who don't even know your last name. You check your phone for confirmation instead of checking your gut for conviction. You are doing the work of a world-class champion, but you are performing with the mindset of a child waiting for a gold star. And listen to the brutal, ugly truth right here. You don't want love, you want permission. You're waiting for external permission to be the person you already know you are supposed to be. You want the self-worth of a CEO, but you're performing the actions of an intern waiting for a handout. You want to be respected, you want to be revered, but you are still asking for somebody else to write your evaluation. And let me tell you this right now. Likes are not evidence. External applause is not evidence. You want evidence, you want self-worth. The formula is simple, but you avoid it. Listen to the equation, and I want you to repeat it with me. Self-worth isn't a feeling, it is evidence. Evidence equals promises kept. Promises kept equals standards plus reps. Where is your evidence? You are stuck in what we call the dopamine dependence loop. See, every time you post, every time you refresh, every time you get that micro hit of validation, your brain says, oh, that felt good. Do that again. It's training you. Like a dog, reinforcing the behavior of seeking approval, which is the exact opposite of building self-reliance. It makes you emotionally dependent, and it delays you building a robust internal sense of value. Your brain is getting addicted to the hit, not the harvest. You're spending all your energy maintaining an image instead of building a foundation. Stop lying to yourself. You know this already. You know that moment when you get the approval, it lasts 5 minutes, and then you are back to the same empty feeling, looking for the next hit. You're trading a lifetime of earned dignity for a fleeting moment of borrowed vanity. You owe it to you. You owe it to you. So here's the tool. I need action, not theory. It's called the 1 Minute Mute Plus Proof Line. It's simple, but it's difficult because it attacks the addiction head. For the first 60 minutes after you wake up and the last 60 minutes before you go to sleep, I want you to put your phone on airplane mode. No social media, no emails, no news, no external input. You are creating a protected space, a sanctuary where your mind is not for rent. You are shutting the outside world out so you can bring your authentic self in. And here's the key part. During that mute time, I want you to write one proof line in a journal. That line must read, I respect myself because I did specific action, even when it was difficult or unpopular. Let me show you how it works. You wake up, you want to check your phone immediately. That is the addiction call and you ignore it. You pick up the journal instead. Maybe yesterday you had a brutal deadline and everyone else quit at 4 p.m. But you stayed until 7 p.m. to finish the proposal. Your proof line doesn't say, I got 100 likes. Your proof line says, I respect myself because I did the extra mile of focused work, even when my body was screaming for me to quit. That line, that one piece of self-generated evidence, is worth more than 1 million likes combined because it is irrefutable. It comes from a source you can trust, the actions you took. When you do this, you stop chasing and you start cultivating. You stop asking and you start decreeing. You are shifting your foundation. You are moving from a rented mind to an own reality. You become someone who is self-substantiating. Your value is no longer a negotiated contract. It is a non-negotiable decree. You are who you are because of the promises you kept to yourself, not because of the opinions of others. You are building an internal vault of evidence, and nobody, not a critic, not a hater, not a lukewarm audience, can access or diminish that vault. Now, you got the tool, you got the challenge, you got the formula. Go silence the noise, write the evidence, and start earning your self-worth today. Your comfort zone, it's a coffin you built yourself. You are living small right now. And I need you to be honest about that. You are intentionally dimming your own light and you are calling it being practical. I'm talking to the person who knows they're capable of 7 figures, but are happy with 6 because 6 is safe. I'm talking to the person who knows they should be charging double for their services, but keeps the price low because it's a guarantee. I'm talking to the person who won't set a clear, firm boundary with their family, their friends, or their employer, because the temporary discomfort of saying no feels heavier than the long-term humiliation of staying stuck. You look at the people who are succeeding. You look at the people who are living the life you dream of, and you tell yourself they just lucky or they had a head start. But that's a lie. You know the truth. You've been given the blueprints. You have the potential, and yet you remain in the gentle, padded prison of low expectations. I was mentoring a phenomenal artist, an absolute genius with a brush. Her work was museum quality, but she was selling her pieces on Etsy for $50. $50. I asked her, why are you doing this? Your time, your skill, the materials, this is a $1,000 piece. Easy. She didn't say, I can't. She said, I don't know if anyone would pay that. She looked me dead in the eye and said, if I charge 50, it will sell for sure. If I charge 1,000 and it sits there for a year, I'll feel like a failure. That right there, that moment of self-betrayal is the most destructive habit you have. She wasn't avoiding failure. She was avoiding the possibility of failure that comes with playing big. She was avoiding the scrutiny that comes with declaring your worth. She wanted the validation of guaranteed small sales over the dignity of waiting for the right price. That is the comfort trap. The problem, my friend, is not that you lack ambition. It's that you prioritize psychological safety over actualized success. You are deliberately keeping your goals small. You are severely undercharging for your value. You are not setting the necessary boundaries, and you are leaving projects 90% finished so you don't have to face the criticism of the final 10%. Why? Because you can't fail if you don't fully commit. And that is the most cowardly form of living. You want the freedom that comes with massive success, but you are more committed to the guaranteed ease of doing the bare minimum. You are mistaking low effort for contentment. Listen to the consequence, because it's brutal. Low standards feel safe today and humiliating later. You are trading your future self's pride for your current self's fleeting comfort. Remember the equation. Self-worth isn't a feeling, it is evidence. You keep making choices that prevent you from generating the evidence. Comfort is not evidence. This avoidance is rooted in what we call the protective incompetence bias. Your brain is essentially a sophisticated thermostat, and its number one job is to keep you safe and conserve energy. It tells you, don't try for that big contract, because if you get it, the pressure will be immense. And if you mess up, the embarrassment will be huge. Just stay right here where it's predictable. It tricks you into believing that an unattempted, easy life is better than a risky, fulfilling one. You become the CEO of your own stagnation. And I'm telling you, that low, quiet hum of knowing you're capable of more, that quiet voice of self-loathing, that is the self-worth cost. Your soul knows you are lying to yourself, and that feeling is worse than any public failure. You owe it to your potential to stop hiding. So we have to move. We have to shatter that comfort. Here is the tool, and it requires radical accountability, the measurable, unreasonable ask. I want you to commit right now today to one uncomfortable ask every 7 days. It has to be something that aligns with your true value and genuinely makes you nervous. It might be asking for a 30% raise, finally setting that firm 5 p.m. boundary, or pitching the big idea to the most intimidating person in the room. This is non-negotiable. It's an act of worship to your future self. Now, here's the accountability mechanism. If you skip it, you owe yourself 60 minutes of focus, deep work the very next day. You skip the ask, you pay the price in immediate self-imposed discipline. You are teaching yourself that the price of comfort is delayed effort. Let's break down a small scene. You are sitting in a meeting and your boss asks, who can handle the new leadership project? Your brain screams, don't volunteer, too much work, too much scrutiny. That's the protective incompetence bias. You take a breath. That is the moment for the unreasonable ask. You raise your hand, your voice cracks a little, but you say, I will take it, and here's the resource I need to deliver. You didn't ask for permission. You declared your competence. You didn't wait to be chosen. You chose yourself. When you do this, something fundamental shifts inside of you. You stop being the person who talks about their potential, and you start being the person who demands their destiny. You become someone who is challenged, validated. You don't earn your worth by waiting for guaranteed success. You earn it by putting your authentic potential on the line week after week. Your worth is no longer determined by how little you risk. It is determined by how much you were willing to sacrifice to pursue your highest self. Go make that uncomfortable ask. Start generating the evidence. Do it now. Stop signing checks your current self. Can't cash. I'm talking to the dreamer right now. The one with the whiteboard full of 5-year goals. The one with the vision board. The one who attends every seminar and buys every course. You talk a great game about the person you'll be tomorrow. The disciplined one, the early riser, the consistent one, the financial wizard. You have built this superhero version of yourself in your mind. And you call it the future you. You live on the fumes of that potential. You believe in that future. You so much that you let the current, you get away with murder. You let the current, you skip the gym, hit snooze, waste the evening, and eat junk food because you think the future you is coming to clean up the mess. You're waiting for a savior to walk into your life. But that savior is just you in 3 months, still waiting. Let me tell you about a conversation I had with a young father who kept struggling with consistency. Every Sunday night, he was a giant. He would plan out the week. I am going to run 5 miles. I am going to finish the certification. I am going to be patient with my kids. But every Monday morning, he became a mouse. He would hit snooze, skip the workout, and then order takeout because he didn't meal prep. He told me, I just feel like I am constantly fighting myself. I know what I should do. But when the alarm goes off, it is like a different person is in control. He said, I have to wait for the motivation to kick in. I looked at him and I had to be brutal. You are confusing the potential of your future self with the labor of your present self. You are signing a contract for discipline and then you are tearing it up every time the work gets hard. He wasn't lacking discipline. He was trapped in a cycle of self-betrayal. The real problem is this. You're relying on a theoretical version of yourself, a future you who is magically disciplined to rescue you from the mess created by your present lack of effort. You talk about the vision, but you refuse to do the daily mundane work that makes your life the evidence. You are addicted to the idea of change, not the discipline of change. You want people to respect the vision you describe, but you refuse to do the work that makes your life the evidence. Listen to the cold, hard truth. Your future self is not coming to save you. He's waiting on you every time you procrastinate, every time you choose comfort. You are actively delaying the arrival of the person you claim you want to be. And that is why your self-worth is low. Remember the equation. Self-worth isn't a feeling. It is evidence. You are systematically destroying the evidence tomorrow is not evidence. This pattern is a direct result of something called temporal discounting in reverse. Most people discount future rewards, but you are overvaluing the perceived happiness and ease of your future self while simultaneously discounting the pain, the effort, and the necessary discomfort that must be endured by your current self. You're saying it'll be easier to start tomorrow, or future me will have more energy. You are creating a massive, debilitating gap between intention and action. This gap, that space between who you say you are and who you actually show up, as that is the birthplace of all low self-worth. You feel empty because you are living a life of perpetual self-deceit. You have to stop borrowing worth from a potential future. You have to start earning it right now. So we are attacking the gap. We are closing the distance between the two versions of you. Here's the tool, and it requires absolute non-negotiation. The 5-minute victory, no negotiation rule. I need you to identify the smallest, most non-negotiable keystone habit that defines the successful future you. And I mean small. 5 minutes of focused writing, flossing your teeth, putting one workout outfit on your bedside. That's it. Now, here is the rule. If it takes less than 5 minutes, you do it immediately. No negotiation. You do not think about it. You do not debate it. You do not check your phone first. You see the task and you execute. That is how you rebuild self-trust. Let's look at a scene. You finish dinner, you're tired, and you tell yourself, I'll do the dishes in the morning. Your future self is already losing, but you stop. You look at the sink. You realize cleaning the main counter takes less than 5 minutes. You don't negotiate. You move immediately. That small action, that small win immediately generates evidence. It sends a powerful, nonverbal message to your subconscious. I am a person who keeps my promises. It's not about the dishes. It is about showing up for the person you promise yourself. You would be when you consistently apply the 5-minute victory rule. You stop being a dreamer and you start being a doer. You stop hoping for a better self and you start becoming that better self. You become someone who is presently accountable. You don't borrow worth from a potential future. You earn it with irrefutable small actions today. You are the change agent. You are the catalyst. The future self you admire is a result of the promises you keep right now. Close the gap. Do the 5-minute win. Go. Your break isn't restorative. It is a retreat from your potential. I need you to look in the mirror and be honest about how you're treating yourself right now. You feel tired, you feel stressed, you feel this massive weight of your goals, so you decide you need a break. And what does that break look like? It looks like 6 hours of streaming, 3 hours of mindless scrolling, and a pile of neglected tasks that grows higher while you're staying. And then you put a nice little bow on that whole escape and call it self-care. Stop lying. I get it. The pressure is real, the exhaustion is real, but I won't let you use the language of health to justify the behavior of a coward. You think you're burned out, but you're confusing the fatigue of avoidance with the exhaustion of achievement. Let me tell you about a time I was speaking to an athlete who had just missed a crucial deadline for registration. He had been training hard, doing the physical work. But when it came to the administrative task of filling out the forms, paying the fees, getting the medical clearance, he kept putting it off. Every afternoon he'd say, I need an hour to decompress. He'd sit on the couch, phone in hand, watching highlight reels of other athletes winning. He knew he needed to spend 30 minutes on that form, but the resistance was so heavy, he chose the path of least internal friction. He ended up missing the deadline, and his whole season was gone. He looked at me crushed and said, I took too much time for myself. And I told him, you didn't take time for yourself. You chose escape over execution. You chose the fake piece of distraction over the real piece of progress. The real problem is that you are using exhaustion as an excuse to procrastinate on the very things that would build your self-worth. You are resting before the work, not after the victory. You want the powerful confidence that comes from massive achievement, but you're treating yourself with the soft kindness reserved for someone who just finished a marathon. You haven't run the race yet. You haven't even tied your shoes. Listen to the clarity line, because this is where the truth hits hardest. Rest is earned. Escape is chosen. The world-class performer earns rest. The average person chooses escape. You are running to distraction, not because you are tired, but because the task you need to do creates discomfort, and your self-worth is only built in the fire of that discomfort. Remember the equation. Self-worth isn't a feeling, it is evidence. You are choosing activities that generate zero evidence. Distraction is not evidence. This pattern is driven by the hedonic treadmill of distraction. It's simple psychology. You feel the uncomfortable friction of the task you need to do. Maybe it's calling that tough client. Maybe it's doing your taxes. Maybe it's starting the first page of the book. Your brain registers that discomfort and says, let's fix this feeling immediately. So you seek immediate, low-effort pleasure, like scrolling or binging, to mask the discomfort of growth. But here's the trap, because these activities create no lasting competence, no real achievement. You feel emptier afterward, thus needing more distraction. It is a cruel, self-defeating loop. True, self-care is not about soothing your current resistance. True, self-care is about honoring your future capacity. You need to stop making decisions based on how you feel right now and start making decisions based on who you need to become. So we have to break the loop. We have to make the immediate action easier than the prolonged escape. Here is the tool, the 10-minute resistance plunge start line. When you feel that urge to check out, to distract yourself, to take that unearned break, I want you to set a timer for 10 minutes and work exclusively on the task you are avoiding most. But don't focus on finishing. Focus only on the start line. I need you to remove the friction. I need you to define the one rep that gets you into motion. Open the doc. Write the first sentence. Send the first message, one rep. That is all you owe me for 10 minutes. You don't owe me perfection. You owe me activation. Let's visualize it. You need to start that massive report. But the thought of the whole project makes your chest tight. So you grab your remote. Stop. Instead, set the timer for 10 minutes. The start line is simple. Open the file and write the title page and the first sentence of the introduction. The energy of starting immediately combats the lie of exhaustion. The energy of completion, even of that one sentence, is the highest form of self-care because it builds trust and generates evidence after 10 minutes. You can take a real earned break, but I bet you won't want to. When you do this consistently, you stop being reactive to your fatigue and you start being proactive about your potential. You stop viewing effort as punishment and you start viewing it as privilege. You become someone who is purposefully rested. You don't rest from the pain of work. You rest for the privilege of the next level of your mission. Go take the plunge. Go generate the evidence. That's your self-worth calling.